Hello and welcome to my walkthrough of the Pearson Edexcel Mathematics GCSE June 2023 Higher Tier Paper number 3. Let's jump straight into it. Question number 1. Simplify m squared to the power 3. So all we need to do here is multiply the two powers together as it's inside a bracket. So we're going to say m to the power 2 times 3, which is just m to the power 6. Part B. Simplify x to the power 5 times x to the power 8. All we have to do here is add the powers together. So x to the power 5 plus 8, which is x to the 13. And part C, expand 4p lots of p squared plus 3p. That's just going to be 4p times p squared plus 4p times 3p, which is just going to be 4p cubed plus 12p squared. Question number 2. Johnny wants to know how much coffee he will need for 800 people at a meeting. Each person who drinks coffee will drink 2 cups of coffee. 10.6 grams of coffee is needed for each cup of coffee. Johnny assumes 68% of the people will drink coffee. Using this assumption, work out the amount of coffee Johnny needs. Give your answer to the nearest gram. So, there are 800 people at the meeting. So let's start by timesing this by 68%, which I'm going to do on my calculator. 800 times 0.68, 544 drink coffee. Then, as each person who drinks coffee will drink 2 cups, we're going to times that by 2. On my calculator, 1088 cups, and 10.6 grams for each cup. Again on my calculator, and we get 11532.8 grams. And the question wants us to give it to the nearest gram, so that's just going to be 11,533. Johnny's assumption is wrong. 72% of the people will drink coffee. How does this affect your answer to part A? Well, it will increase my answer, and he will need more coffee. Need more grams of coffee. Question number 3. ACF and ADG are straight lines. BCD and EFG are parallel lines. Show that ACD is isosceles. Give a reason for each stage of your working. So first thing I'm going to do is this angle here is 180 minus 125, as its angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees, so it's going to be 55 degrees. And I'm going to say angles on a straight line equal 180 degrees. Then, as these are parallel lines, this must be the same angle, and this must also be the same angle, and that is because they are corresponding angles on parallel lines. So I'm just going to put corresponding angles on parallel lines. And similarly, we know that this here is 70 degrees, as this is another straight line, and the angles in a straight line add up to 180 degrees. I'll write that again here. And we have 2 angles of a triangle. So this angle here is just going to be 180 minus 70 minus 55, which I've done on my calculator as 55 degrees. I'll write angles in triangle equals 180 degrees. And since we have 2 angles the same in ACD, that means we have an isosceles triangle. As 2 angles are the same in ACD, we have an isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle. Question number 4. It takes 14 hours for 5 identical pumps to fill a water tank. How many hours would it take 4 of these pumps to fill another water tank of the same size? So, 14 times 5 would be 70 hours for one pump. And if it says 4 pumps, we're going to do 70 divided by 4 to work out how many hours it would take for 4 pumps to fill up the same tank. I'll do that on my calculator. And that's going to be 17.5 hours. Question number 5. A and B are numbers such that 2 squared times 3 to the 4 times 7 is A, and B equals 3 squared times 7 squared. Find the highest common factor of A and B. So to do this, we have to find which of the prime factors are in both. So in A, we have 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 7. And in B, we have 3 times 3 times 7 times 7. So we have 3 and 3 and 3 and 3, and we have 7. So the highest common factor will just be 3 times 3 times 7, which is just 63. And part B, find the lowest common multiple. So part B, find the lowest common multiple of A and B. So in order to do that, we need to multiply together A and B to get a multiple of both of them, but that won't be the lowest common multiple. However, we can see that the only number that is in B in terms of prime factors that is not in A is this 7 here. So every other part of B is already included within A. So to get the multiple that is the lowest common multiple, we just need to multiply A by 7. And that's just going to be, I'll do it on my calculator, 2 squared times 3 to the power 4 times 7 is just 2268 multiplied by 7, which is 15,876. Question number 6. Lava flows from a volcano at a constant rate of 11.9 meters cubed per second. How many days does it take for that amazingly high amount of lava to flow from the volcano? Give your answer correct to the nearest day. So 11.9 meters cubed per second. How many days does it take for 67,205? So if it is 11.9 meters cubed per second, then we're going to multiply it by 60. So 11.9 times 60, 714 meters cubed per minute. And then we're going to times that by 60 to get 42,840 meters cubed per hour. And we're going to times that by 24 to get 1028160 meters cubed per day. Then we're going to do 67,205,600 divided by 1028160 to work out how many days. Doing all this on my calculator, and I get 65.36492337, etc. days, and it wants it to the nearest day, so 65 days is the answer. Question number 7. Here is the graph of y equals x squared minus 2x minus 2. Write down the coordinates of the turning point on the graph. Y equals x squared minus 2x minus 2. That's just going to be just here, which is going to be 1 minus 3. 1 on the x-axis, minus 3 on the y-axis. Write down an estimate for one of the roots of x squared minus 2x minus 2 equals 0. That's going to be where we cross the x-axis, about here. Each square looks like 0.2, as there's 5 squares between 2 and 3, which means that's going to be around 2.7, roughly. 2.7. Question number 8. A solid cuboid is made of metal. The metal has a density of 9 grams per centimeters cubed. The volume of the cuboid is 72 centimeters cubed. Work out the mass of the cuboid. So all we need to do for that is density equals mass over volume. And there's a clue here in looking at the units. So we can see this is 9 grams per centimeter cubed. So this is G over cm cubed. And we know that the volume is cm cubed. So we just need the mass to be on the top in grams. So work out the mass of the cuboid. So we're going to rearrange this equation to be mass equals density times volume, 9 times 72, which I'll do on my calculator, 648 grams. Question 9. Some people were asked if they wanted a new television. 70% of the people said yes. 80% of the people who said yes wanted a television with a large screen. What percentage of the people asked said they wanted a television with a large screen? That is just going to be 70%, which will put us 0.7, multiplied by 80%, which will put us 0.8. And on my calculator, that is just 0.56, which is 56%. Question 10. ABD is a triangle. C is a point on BD. Work out the length of DC. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. So what we're going to do first is, they're both right angled triangles, so we're going to use Pythagoras. So this line here is the hypotenuse. This one's the opposite. This is the adjacent. So we can work out the length of AC from this. So we can say that adjacent, we want the opposite. We have the hypotenuse, so we need sine. So sine 41 equals opposite, which we're just going to call AC, over hypotenuse 6.8. Therefore, AC equals 6.8 sine 41. So on my calculator, 6.8 sine 41 is just 4.46. And then we'll do the same for the triangle on the left, 0.46. So we want DC, which is going to be adjacent. This is still the opposite side because it's opposite the angle. So this time we're going to use tan. So tan 55 equals opposite over adjacent. So AC is 4.46 over DC, which is the one we want. We'll rearrange this equation to get DC equals 4.46 over tan 55. Tan 55, and then 4.46 divided by tan 55 is just 3.1229 centimeters. And we want 1 decimal place, so 3.1. Question 11. The table shows some information about the heights of a group of adults. On the grid, draw a box plot for the information in the table. So our smallest is 169 centimeters, so it looks like each square here is going to be 0.5, as there's 10 squares between 165 and 170. So I'm going to start by doing 2 squares from 170 to signify 169. And then at the top end, 186 is as high as we go. So similarly, 2 squares from 185 just to there. And then we have the lower quartile is 174. So 2 squares from there is going to be here. That'll be the start of our box. So I'm going to draw a line here. The upper quartile is 180. So we're going to draw another line here. That'll be the end of our box. And we'll draw a line here. And then we just close off the box. and we just need to put the median in there at 177, which is going to be 4 squares along from 175, just like that. The box plot below shows the distribution of the heights of a group of teenagers. Compare the distribution of the heights of the adults with the distribution of the heights of the teenagers. So we can say the median is higher for adults. We'll say the interquartile range is, what have we got in the top one? 174 to 180, so 6. It's the same in the other one. And it's 2 marks, so that would probably do for our comparison. So we'll say the median height is higher for adults. The interquartile range is the same for both groups. It's only 2 marks, so giving 2 points would be enough. Question 12. Show that x minus 1 multiplied by x plus 3 multiplied by x minus 5 can be written in the form ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d, where a, b, c, and d are integers. So x minus 1, x plus 3, x minus 5 is the same as x minus 1 times x plus 3 times x minus 5. So let's put these 2 brackets together. It's going to be x squared minus x plus 3x minus 3 times x minus 5. Now we'll times it all by x minus 5. So we're going to get x cubed minus x squared plus 3x squared minus 3x. That's timesing it all by x. Now we'll times it all by minus 5. Minus 5x squared plus 5x minus 15x plus 15. Now we'll put all the like terms together. We got x cubed minus x squared plus 3x squared is 2x squared. Minus 5x squared gives us minus 3x squared. Then the x terms, minus 3x plus 5x is plus 2x. Minus 15x is minus 13x. And then we have a plus 15 on the end. And that is the format that we're looking for. Question 13. An expression for the nth term of a sequence of triangular numbers is n times n plus 1 over 2. Prove that the sum of any 2 consecutive triangle numbers is a square number. So let's take the nth term and the nth plus 1 term, and we're going to say n plus 1 over 2 plus n plus 1, so replacing n with n plus 1, multiplied by n plus 1, so n plus 2, over 2. That's just going to be n squared plus n over 2, and this is going to be n squared plus n plus 2n plus 2 over 2, which is just going to be 2n squared 3n plus 4n plus 2 over 2, which is just going to be n squared plus 2n plus 1 once we've divided by 2. And we can also say this as n plus 1 squared. And we know that this is a square number, as it is a number squared, as required. Question number 14. OAB is a triangle. OBC is a sector of a circle, centre O. Calculate the area of OBC. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So what we need to do here is work out the radius of the sector, which we can do by having the length OB. But as you can see, we have 2 side lengths and an angle length. Therefore, we need to use the cosine rule. So if you head to your formula sheet, the cosine rule is just a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. So in this example, r is going to be a in the cosine rule. So therefore, we need r squared equals b squared, which is going to be 6 squared, plus c squared, which is going to be 9 squared, minus 2 times 6 times 9, and 2 times, so 6 times 9 is 54, 2 times that is 108, cos 35, 36 plus 81 minus 108 cos 35. Put all this in my calculator. So 108 cos 35 is, let's just say this is 117 minus 88.4684. So 117 minus 88.464 is just 28.53. And we'll scroll down. So r is the square root of 28.53, which is just 5.34. Therefore, the area of OBC is just going to be pi r squared multiplied by the percentage of the circle that we've got, which is 80 out of 360, as the angle in the middle is 80. 5.34 squared. And we're going to do 5.34 squared times by pi times 80 divided by 360. And we get 19.92 centimeters squared. Question 15a. Factorize a squared minus b squared. That is just simply a plus b, a minus b. As your a, b terms cancel out. Part b. Show that 2 to the power 40 minus 1 is the product of two consecutive odd numbers. So giving us a difference of two squares in part A is a clue that we need to use that in part B. So 2 to the 40 minus 1 is the same as if we say this is a squared minus b squared, where a equals 2 to the power 20 and b equals 1. Then we can say this is the same as 2 to the power 20 plus 1 multiplied by 2 to the power 20 minus 1, just using the difference of two squares. And 2 to the power 20 is an even number, as it's a multiple of 2. And so, therefore, 2 to the power 20 plus 1 and 2 to the power 20 minus 1 are both odd, as they are 1 away from an even number. And so they are consecutive and they are odd. Question number 16. On the grid, enlarge triangle T by scale factor -2 with center of enlargement -2, -2. So -2 is just going to be here. So we essentially need to enlarge T in the top right direction. So we know that the gap currently, let's call these points A, B, and C. So the gap between B and C is currently 2 squares, and we're going to enlarge it by scale factor -2. So all that's going to do is flip point C and B round, so that C is now on the left of B, and the gap is going to be 4 squares. So C to B is going to be 4 squares, and then A to B is currently 3 squares up and 1 to the right, which means it's going to become 6 squares down and 2 to the left. So we're going to be looking at a triangle like this. Then in terms of positioning, we know the center of enlargement is -2, -2, which means we're going to need to calculate the distance. So A to -2, -2 is currently 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So we're going to know that it is now going to be double that away. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this point here is going to become our new A. Let's call it A dash. And like I said, we're going to need to go from A dash 2 to the right and 6 up to get to B. So 2 to the right and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to get to B dash. And then point C is going to be 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, C dash. And this is our new triangle. You'll be using a ruler to draw this in the exam. And we should have points 4, 4, 8, 4, and 6 minus 2. Question 17. Here is a distance time graph. Find an estimate of the gradient of the graph at time 2.5 seconds. You must show how you get your answer. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go 2.5, and you're going to get your ruler, and you're going to draw a straight line that kisses the curve like that. And you're going to work out for a portion of the graph the difference in y divided by the difference in x, which gives you your gradient. So gradient equals difference in y divided by difference in x. Now mine might not be perfect because I haven't drawn a ruler, but if you haven't used a ruler, but make sure you do in the exam. I'm just going to take 2 points here. I'll just take down here 1.2, and we'll go right to the end. So this is going to be 4.5, and then we're going to go up to, what's that, 54 from 0. So our difference in y is 54. Our difference in x is 3.3. 54 divided by 3.3 on my calculator is 16.36. So the mark scheme is actually 16.5 to 19.5. So like I said, mine isn't going to be quite right because of the lack of ruler. But if you draw that with a straight line, you'll get a more accurate number. And what have we got for part B? What does the gradient of the graph represent? So difference in y divided by difference in x is going to be meters divided by seconds, and meters over seconds is just the speed. Meters per second. Question 18. A solid frustum is made by removing a small cone from a large cone, as shown in the diagram. The slant height of the small cone is 6 centimeters. The slant height of the large cone is 10 centimeters. The radius of the base of the large cone is 3 centimeters. Calculate the total surface area of the frustum. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So what we're going to do first is the radius of the top circle is just going to be 6/10 of 3, which is the radius of the bottom cone, which is just going to be 1.8. Then we need the curved surface area of the large cone, and we have the formula over there, pi RL, which is going to be pi times 3 times 10, 30 pi, which we'll just keep it in terms of pi just now. Therefore, the curved surface area of the small cone is going to be pi times the radius, which we know is 1.8, times L, which we know is 6. Do that on my calculator. 1.8 times 6 is just 54 over 5 times pi. Therefore, the curved surface area of the frustum is going to be 30 pi minus 54 over 5 pi, which is just 96 over 5 pi. Then we need to add on the area of the base and the area of the top. So area of the base is just going to be pi r squared where r is 3, so 9 pi. And the area of the top we worked out earlier. No, we didn't. We worked out the radius earlier. It's going to be pi times 1.8 squared. So 1.8 squared is just going to be 81 over 25 pi. Therefore, total area I lots of 96 over 5 plus 81 over 25 plus 9. I'm going to whack all that in my calculator. 81 divided by 25 plus 9 plus 96 over 5 multiplied by pi. 98.77167303. Believe I'm just going to double check that the question asked for 3 significant figures. It did. 98.8 centimeters squared. 19. Sana needs to draw a graph of y equals 3 to the x for 0 less than x is greater than or equal to 0 and is less than or equal to 4. She draws the graph shown on the grid. Write down one thing Sana has done wrong. Well, 3 to the x, if x is 0, anything to the power 0 should come out as 1, but the graph is going through 0, 0. The graph shouldn't go through 0, 0, as when x is 0, 3 to the 0 equals 1. Therefore, y equals 1, so should go through 0, 1. That's just a 1-mark question thrown in there. Question 20. Prove algebraically that 0.123, which is 0.1 and 2 and 3 recurring, can be written as 61 over 495. So what we're going to do here is say x equals 0.123. Therefore, we're going to say 10x equals 1.23 recurring. And then we'll say 1000x even is going to be 123.23 recurring. Which means if I do 1000x take away 1000x minus 10x, we basically get rid of the 3 recurring bit, and we're just left with 122, which is 990x. We'll rearrange that to say x equals 122 divided by 990, which funnily enough, if you divide top and bottom by 2, is 61 over 495, which is what we need. Question 21. Solve 1 over x to plus 4 plus 3 over 2 minus 2x equals 1. So what I'm going to do here is multiply both sides by x plus 4 lots of 2 minus 2x. So in order to do that, we're going to then have x plus 4 2 minus 2x multiplied by, I'm just going to say left-hand side for now, equals x plus 4 2 minus 2x. So I'll now look at the left-hand side. So x plus 4 2 minus 2x over x plus 4 plus x plus 4 2 minus 2x multiplied by 3, of course, over 2 minus 2x. So left-hand side, I'm going to cancel that, cancel that, cancel that, and cancel that. So we just have 2 minus 2x plus 3x plus 4. Therefore, we'll expand this out. That's going to be 2 minus 2x plus 3x plus 12. So I'll just expand out the right-hand side as well. So x multiplied by 2 minus 2x is just 2x minus 2x squared. And then 4 multiplied by 2 minus 2x is just 8 minus 8x. Simplify all this out, we're going to get x plus 14 equals minus 2x squared minus 6x plus 8. Let's bring this all into one equation. So we're going to get 2x squared plus 7x plus 6 equals 0, which you can factorize into 2x plus 3 and x plus 2 equals 0, which means 2x plus 3 equals 0 and x plus 2 equals 0 are solutions. Therefore, x equals minus 1.5 and x equals minus 2. Question number 22. Given that the vector a 2, 6 plus b 8, 2 is parallel to the vector 13, 6, find an expression of for b in terms of a. So let's expand out these vectors and look at them as x coordinates and y coordinates. So we're going to say 2a plus 8b equals 13x, since we know it's parallel. So we know that it will be multiplied by a number, but it'll be the same direction. It'll be the same relationship between the x and the y coordinates in the vector. So similarly, we can say 6a plus 2b equals 6x, as it will be multiplied by the same x value. I might even just write x here just to make it easier for myself. So let's get x on its own. So we're just going to say x equals 2a over 13 plus 8b over 13, and then we're going to put that x into the other equation. So that will be 6a plus 2b equals 6 lots of 2a over 13 plus 8b over 13. So 6a plus 2b equals 12a over 13 plus 48b over 13. We'll times everything by 13, so 6 times 13 is 78a. That would be 26b equals 12a plus 48b, which will take the a's onto one side, gives us 66a. Take the b's onto the other side, 22b, divide through by 22, 3a equals b. We have an expression of b in terms of a. b equals 3a. Question 23. A circle has equation x squared plus y squared equals 25. The point P with coordinates minus 3, 4 lies on the circle. Alex says that the tangent to the circle at P crosses the x-axis at point minus 8, 0. Is Alex correct? You must show how you get your answer. So I'm going to start by drawing x squared plus y squared equals 25. Like this. That's going to be 5, that's going to be 5, that's going to be minus 5, that's going to be minus 5. And it's going to be the origin just here, 0, 0. It's a very poorly drawn circle. So we need to know the point with coordinates minus 3, 4 lies on the circle. So minus 3, 4 is going to be about here. So minus 3, 4. Alex says that the tangent to the circle at P crosses the x-axis at the point minus 8, 0. So the tangent to the circle at P, just like that. That's the line he's talking about. So Alex thinks that this point here is minus 8, 0. So the gradient of that tangent is the difference in y divided by the difference in x. But instead of doing it on the tangent line, we're going to draw a right-angled triangle to the origin. So that's a right angle there. So if we say this is r, the radius of the circle, we know that the difference in y over the difference in x for r is just going to be 4 over minus 3, since we know that that point there is minus 3, 4. Therefore, the gradient of the tangent to the line is going to be minus 1 over the gradient of r, which is going to be 3/4. Therefore, the tangent is just going to be y equals 3/4 x plus c, where c is the point. It's just going to be y equals 3/4 x plus c in the form of y equals mx plus c. So now we're going to put our coordinates for the point that we know is on the edge of the circle and on the tangent line into this equation here. So we're going to say 4 equals 3/4 lots of minus 3 plus c, so that we can work out c. So 4 equals minus 9 over 4 plus c. Therefore, c equals 4 plus 9 over 4. 4 plus 9 over 4 on my calculator is just 6.25. Just move my page down. Therefore, y equals 3/4 x plus 6.25 is the equation of the tangent, and Alex thinks that it crosses the x-axis at the point minus 8, 0. So when y equals 0, 3/4 x plus 6.25 equals 0. Therefore, x equals, so what we're going to do is we will take the 6.25 on the other side, and we're going to divide it by 3 and multiply it by 4. So all I've done there is I've moved this over here so that we have 3/4 x equals minus 6.25 divided through by 3 times through by 4, and x therefore equals minus 8.3 recurring, not 8, not minus 8. So Alex is wrong. Question 24 is the final question on the paper. There is a total of y counters in a box. There are x pink counters and 5 blue counters in the box. The rest of the counters are green. X compared to y equals 1 to 3. Frida takes at random 2 counters from the box. Find, in terms of x, an expression for the probability that Frida takes 2 counters of the same color. Give your answer as a fraction in the form ax squared plus bx plus c over dx squared plus ex, where a, b, c, d, and e are integers. Since we know that x compared to y equals 1 compared to 3, and y is the total number of counters in the box, we know that y equals 3x. So the total counters is 3x. So the probability of pink twice is simply going to be 1/3 multiplied by the total number of counters multiplied by x less 1, because we've already had 1 counter come out the box, divided by 3x, which is the total, less 1, because we've already had 1 counter come out of the box. The probability of blue twice is simply going to be 5 divided by the total number of counters in the box, which is 3x, multiplied by 5 minus 1, because 1's already come out of the box, divided by 3x minus 1, for the same reasoning. The probability of 2 green in a row is going to be the probability of 1 green, which is simply 2x minus 5 out of the 3x total, because we know that x plus 5 plus green equals 3x. So simply as 3x is the total number of counters in the box, x is a probability of pink, x is the number of pink counters, and 5 is the number of blue counters. So 2x minus 5 over 3x multiplied by 2x minus 5 minus 1, so 2x minus 6 over 3x minus 1. I'll scroll down. Now we've got to expand all of this out. 1/3 times x minus 1 over 3x minus 1. In fact, I'm just going to write the whole lot out as best I can here. So x minus 1 over 3 lots of 3x minus 1 is the top one. Then the second one, we're going to say plus 5 lots of, that's 5 minus 1 would be 4. So, which in fact, we'll leave it as two separate ones for now. 5 times 4 over 3x minus 1 plus 2x minus 5. I don't think I can simplify this one down. Multiplied by 2x minus 6 over 3x minus 1. Just like that. And we'll multiply it all out. (20 over 3x minus 1). 2x minus 5, 2x minus 6 over 3x minus 1. What I'm also going to do here is times this first one by x, because you can see the denominator is almost the same. So if I times the top and the bottom by x, I can put them all onto the same denominator. So we're going to say x lots of x minus 1 plus 20 plus 2x minus 5 lots of 2x minus 6 all over, and we'll also expand this out at the same time. So it's now 3x times 3x minus 1, which we're just going to call 9x squared minus 3x. We'll simplify the top now. X squared minus x plus 20 plus 4x squared minus 10x minus 12x would be minus 22x. Minus 5 times minus 6 is plus 30. All over 9x squared minus 3x. Then we're going to say that is the same as 5x squared minus 23x plus 50 over 9x squared minus 3x. And I think that is the format the question wanted us to get it down to. It is. We couldn't make it any simpler than that. 5x squared minus 23x. As soon as I saw 23x and I knew 23 was prime, I was thinking we're going to struggle to simplify this. And that is our answer. And that is the final question. I hope that walkthrough was helpful for you. If you've got any comments, as always, leave them below. But thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.